What makes Voldemort the perfect Megavillain? Let's talk villains. So, does he even count? Well, is he powerful enough to count? He is described as one of the two most powerful wizards in England, depending on who you talk to. The Death Eaters will say he's the most powerful, and the Order of Phoenix will say Dumbledore is. Dumbledore says that he has powers that he cannot use. McGonagall tells him that only because you're too noble to use them. And Dumbledore certainly shows his knowledge of Horcruxes. He certainly knows his knowledge of old magic. But he doesn't show the ability to fly. He doesn't show some of the skills that Voldemort shows. And perhaps that is because he's too noble to use them. But regardless, Voldemort shows magic that, aside from Dumbledore, nobody else in the Harry Potter universe uses. And he uses magic that nobody else in the Harry Potter universe uses. So he most certainly is powerful enough to count. So is he irredeemable? Yes, he is completely irredeemable. Even in the 6th book, when we are shown some of his background and Harry for a moment begins to feel sorry for him, if you look at his background, then he is a child sociopath. He uses fear as a weapon, and he kills pet animals. Nothing screams child sociopath more than that. So, he is completely irredeemable. And he is incredibly powerful, seeming undefeatable. So, he is a Megavillain. We have proven that. He is the most powerful villain in his universe. He is completely evil and completely irredeemable. So, is he boring? Yes, he's boring. He wants power and he wants immortality. Those are about the two most classic desires that you want. Are his minions more interesting? Yes, no matter your opinion of them, Snape and Draco are both far more complex than he is. And they both, attending school with Harry, take up far more time that Harry thinks about them. They say much more. They are much more present figures in the books. So we have established that he is a Megavillain. We've established that he fits all of the criteria and tropes for Megavillain. So, what does he do? How does J.K. Rowling introduce him in such a way that he seems terrifying? J.K. Rowling wastes no time in introducing him. He is introduced in the 4th chapter of the 1st book. We are told that they are terrified to say his name. We are told that there was an 11-year war. That is not 11 years of a building tension and then a war. No, that is 11 years of full-out war on the government. James Potter and his friends and his generation would not have known peace since they were 10 years old, and since the social climax before that war would have been building and building before it actually outbroke, they would not have known true peace in their entire lifetime. That's a long time. The other thing that we learn about is that he is defeated. We learn that he has been defeated by a child. Now, we don't care that it was a child because that tells us that the fates are tied. It doesn't bother us as an audience that he was defeated by an infant. We have no reason to think that there's anything strange about that because it's in the 4th chapter. But we learn that he's weakened, and that undermines his power a little bit. Now, the idea of a villain rising back to power is not new. It is not strange, and I can think of a few other examples. It does undermine our opinion of his terror, that in the 4th chapter we know that not only did he was he this terrifying person, but also that he was defeated. From the fourth chapter, we also know that Harry and his fates are tied together. It is said plainly in the fourth chapter. It is said again the fourth time we meet Hagrid, and it is said again with Ollivander. By the time that Harry reaches Hogwarts, we have been told 3 times that his fate is tied to Voldemort's. Never in so many words, but it is clear to the reader that his fate is tied to Voldemort. We know from the very first chapter. We know what this book is going to be about. We know that it will be about him defeating Voldemort. That is amazing storytelling. That we know the fates are tied together, that we have been told 3 times how terrifying Voldemort was, and that we have been told 3 times how much the fates are tied together. But then we reach my biggest problems with book 1 through 4. And that's, where are they? Where are the war orphans? Where's the boy whose father's in Azkaban? Where's the girl who's living with her aunt because her parents died fighting? Where are these war orphans? Where are the people whose lives have been affected aside from Harry? The only other one we meet is Neville. The other people that can see Thestrals, which admittedly they were young, but none of theirs connected to the war. Luna's not, Neville's not. Harry is Cedric, which is connected to the Second War, and not who's the random Slytherin boy who can see them. We don't know. So, Ron lost 2 uncles to the war, but the only one we ever hear him talk about didn't die in the war. Practically every person we meet has 2 parents. Seamus, Ron, Hermione, Draco. Now, we don't need details, but it would be nice to see that an 11-year war actually affected some people, actually hurt them, actually lost people. Now, that being said, when Voldemort comes back, he wastes no time in killing people. He kills Cedric, like, first thing when he comes back. People are disappearing left and right. Hannah Abbott is called out of the herbology class to be told her mother is dead in book 6. It is an incredibly good job of showing the darkness of war, without showing the grisly details of war. Incredibly good storytelling again. And then we find out that Voldemort cannot love, and when he dies, he kills himself with his own spell. Now, it's incredibly simple and gentle symbolism, but it is very plain that without love, we destroy ourselves, and it's expertly done. Now, J.K. Rowling's creation of Voldemort is the best example of a Megavillain that I could think of, and to introduce you to the idea. So if you have an idea about Voldemort that I didn't say, comment down below. If you want to see more like this, then subscribe, and if you like the video, push like. Farewell for now, my minions.